Tom was an ordinary little boy, navigating his small world with the wide-eyed curiosity typical of his age. One sunny afternoon, as he walked down a quiet street, he came across an enormous dog. Its sheer size was enough to startle him, and he froze, unable to take another step. The dog stood still, staring at him with an intensity that made his heart race. Panic surged through him. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming stories. And without thinking, he screamed, "Go away, you stupid dog." Tom's voice echoed through the street, but the dog didn't flinch. Its calm demeanor was baffling, and as Tom stood there trembling, he couldn't have anticipated what the dog would do next. Tom's reaction might have seemed excessive to an outsider, but there was more to it than just fear. The truth was, Tom hated dogs. Yet, it hadn't always been that way. There was a time when he adored them, a time when dogs filled his world with joy and companionship. Tom's love for dogs began when he was just 2 years old. He had met his first dog at a neighbor's house, and it was love at first sight. The furry creature's wagging tail and playful demeanor captivated him. From that moment on, he couldn't imagine a life without dogs. His fascination grew with time, leading him to obsess over books, shows, and toys about dogs. When Tom turned 4, his dream came true. His grandmother could no longer care for her aging Newfoundland dog, Lucy, entrusted her to Tom's family. Lucy was enormous, far larger than the puppies most families would choose for a young child. Despite initial doubts, Tom's parents relented after weeks of pleading. From the moment Lucy entered their home, it was as if she had always belonged. Her immense size was matched only by her gentle nature and boundless love. She and Tom quickly became inseparable. They spent countless hours playing, napping together, and exploring the backyard. Lucy's warm presence filled their home, and she became an integral part of Tom's life. But one fateful afternoon changed everything. It was a crisp autumn day, and Tom convinced his parents to take Lucy for a walk in the nearby forest. The family strolled through the woods, enjoying the serenity, when a sudden loud bang shattered the calm. Startled, Lucy bolted, yanking the leash from Tom's mother's hands. Before anyone could react, she vanished into the dense forest. "Lucy." Tom's tiny voice echoed through the trees, but there was no response. He ran as fast as his little legs could carry him, tears streaming down his face. Despite their efforts, the family couldn't find her. Heartbroken, they returned home, leaving Tom devastated. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Tom's hope of Lucy's return slowly faded. He blamed himself for her disappearance, replaying the events in his mind. Perhaps if he had held the leash, she wouldn't have run off. Determined not to give up, Tom began searching for her. Every day after school, he scoured the forest and nearby streets, calling her name. With his parents' help, he put up flyers around town. At night, he lay awake, hoping to hear her familiar bark. But as the months dragged on, it seemed futile. One morning, while walking to school, Tom heard a faint bark. He stopped in his tracks, his heart pounding. Could it be Lucy? The sound was distant but familiar. He followed it, his hope reignited. The barking grew louder as he approached an alleyway. His heart raced with anticipation. "Lucy," he called, stepping into the shadows. A massive figure emerged from the darkness. It was Lucy. Tears streamed down his face as she ran toward him, her tail wagging furiously. "Lucy, where have you been?" Tom cried, hugging her tightly. She licked his face, her affection undiminished despite her time away. But as he looked closer, something seemed different. She appeared thinner, her glossy coat slightly duller. Yet it was undeniably her. Overjoyed, Tom brought her home. His parents were shocked but hesitant. "Are you sure it's Lucy?" his father asked. Upon closer inspection, they agreed it was her, albeit changed by her time in the wild. Life returned to normal almost. Lucy resumed her role as Tom's loyal companion, but her behavior was different. She often stared out the window for hours, her gaze distant. She also began sneaking out of the backyard, vanishing for hours at a time. Despite their attempts to follow her, Lucy always eluded them. Tom's curiosity grew. Where did she go? What was she doing? One day he decided to find out. He waited by the back door, watching her every move. When she slipped out, he followed, staying as quiet as possible. Lucy led him to the forest, moving with purpose. Tom struggled to keep up, but he was determined. After several minutes, she stopped near a clearing. Tom hid behind a tree, watching as she approached a group of stray dogs. They greeted her warmly, tails wagging and noses nudging. Lucy had formed a bond with these dogs, a second family of sorts. Tom's heart swelled with pride and sadness. He realized Lucy wasn't just his dog, she was a protector and friend to others in need. He quietly retreated, allowing her to have her secret life. This continued for months until tragedy struck. At 11 years old, Lucy passed away peacefully in her sleep. The family was devastated, but Tom took it the hardest. Losing her a second time felt unbearable. He spent days mourning in the backyard, where they had shared so many memories. Despite his grief, he found solace in the knowledge that Lucy had lived a full life, bringing joy to him and her forest companions. "I don't ever want another dog," Tom declared to his parents one evening. "They love you and then leave you." His parents respected his wishes, though they hoped he would heal with time. Years passed, and Tom grew into a thoughtful and compassionate young man. He avoided dogs, unwilling to risk the pain of losing another. But one day, as he walked home from school, fate intervened. A stray dog, large and eerily reminiscent of Lucy, appeared on the street. Its piercing gaze stopped Tom in his tracks. Fear and anger surged within him. "Go away, you stupid dog," he shouted, his voice trembling. To his surprise, the dog didn't move. Instead, it sat down, tilting its head as if waiting for Tom to make the next move. Tom's heart softened. He approached cautiously, his hand outstretched. The dog rolled onto its back, inviting him to pet it. As Tom's fingers brushed its fur, memories of Lucy flooded back. He realized this encounter wasn't a coincidence, it was a chance to heal. For the first time in years, Tom smiled, feeling a spark of the bond he had once cherished. "Let's go home," Tom said softly, just as he had years ago when he first brought Lucy home. The dog wagged her tail and followed him eagerly, her steps as light and joyful as Tom's heart. When Tom arrived home with the dog, his parents were stunned. The resemblance to Lucy was undeniable. Their eyes darted between the ecstatic Tom and the mysterious dog. "It's Lucy," Tom declared, his voice filled with hope and conviction. His parents exchanged uncertain glances but couldn't bring themselves to shatter his happiness. Still, they decided to take responsible steps. They printed posters and placed them around the neighborhood, hoping to find the dog's rightful owner. Days turned into weeks, but no one came forward. Meanwhile, the bond between Tom and the dog deepened. They were inseparable, and Tom's joy seemed to radiate through the house. "We should take her to the vet," Tom's father suggested one morning, "just to make sure she's healthy." In truth, they hoped the vet might provide answers about the dog's origins. At the clinic, the vet's expression turned to shock as he examined the dog. "This is remarkable," he said. "She looks exactly like Lucy." Tom's parents explained the situation, and the vet agreed to run some tests to uncover more about the mysterious dog. Tom overheard the conversation and realized the dog might not be Lucy after all. He studied her closely on the ride home, noticing subtle differences, her slightly larger ears, her distinct bark. Yet the bond he felt remained unshaken. A few days later, the vet called with news that left the family in disbelief. "I rushed the tests because this case is so unique," he said, "and I've discovered something extraordinary. This dog's DNA is a 50% match with Lucy's." Tom's father stammered, "Does that mean?" "Yes," the vet confirmed. "This dog is Lucy's offspring." The revelation stunned the family. Lucy had been pregnant when she disappeared. She must have given birth in the wild and returned home alone, leaving her puppy behind. The puppy had somehow survived and, against all odds, found its way back to Tom. Tom named her Lucy Jr., and their bond only grew stronger. She followed him everywhere, her loyalty as fierce as her mother's. Lucy Jr. seemed to know the woods intimately, often pulling Tom toward hidden trails and clearings. One day, she led the family to a hollowed tree, where they found a makeshift bed of twigs and leaves. It was likely where Lucy had lived during her months away. "This must be where she raised Lucy Jr.," Tom said, his voice filled with wonder. The discovery brought closure to a chapter of their lives and strengthened their connection to the mysterious dog. Over the years, Lucy Jr. became a cornerstone of Tom's life. She helped him navigate the challenges of growing up. At school, Tom struggled to make friends, often preferring the company of his dog. But on pet day, Lucy Jr. won the hearts of his classmates, especially a girl named Lisa. Lisa's admiration for Lucy Jr. blossomed into a deep friendship with Tom. As the years passed, their bond grew into love. When Tom and Lisa decided to start a dog daycare and shelter, it was Lucy Jr. who inspired them. The couple worked tirelessly to create a haven for animals, naming the shelter Lucy's Haven in honor of the dog who had brought so much love into their lives. Lucy Jr. was there for the grand opening, her presence a symbol of resilience and unconditional love. Shortly after the shelter's success, Lucy Jr. passed away peacefully, leaving behind a legacy of love and inspiration. Her memory lived on through the shelter, which continued to help countless animals find their own happy endings. Tom often reflected on the miraculous journey that began with a chance encounter in the woods. Lucy Jr. had not only filled the void in his heart, but had also taught him that love and connection could transcend logic and time. And in her memory, he and Lisa continued to spread that love to every animal and person who walked through their doors.